War rages across the mortal realms. New alliances are formed while others lie shattered, and the dominant powers ever seek their next conquest. As these two powerful forces prepare to clash, only one will rise victorious when the dust settles. While this and countless other battles rage on, one fact is becoming clear. The season of war has begun. This video is brought to you by the support of our channel members and the FLGS Partners, Warfire Minis, and X-Planet.
Hello and welcome to Season of War. Today we have another game of Age of Sigmar. Oliver, you're bringing out the Daughters of Khaine again.
A good old matchup against the Little Water Elves.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
You've long wanted revenge. You've gotten your revenge before against these guys, but we've had...
It's an old bitter rivalry. It's gone back and forth.
Many battles.
I remember the day that I never beat this army, so at least now in this edition, there's a good chance for Doc.
Oh yeah, definitely. But jumping into things today, as we mentioned, I'm playing the Idoneth Deepkin, voted on by our channel members, so if you want to have a say on what we're playing on the channel, that's one way to do it. And I want to give a special shout out to Eddie, one of our top tier supporters who actually submitted this list with some minor tweaks just for the new edition that we talked about that I'm playing here tonight. So super excited for it. Not too different than kind of what I've ran in the past. So excited to get a big beefy turtle out there. But before we dive into things, I also want to give a big shout out to everyone that's been helping support us with our current channel goal of getting our Beast of Chaos Army commission painted. So all our super chats and super thanks, all that support is going directly to getting that army painted up and on the channel. With the new book coming up in the near future, we're all super excited to get that army on the channel. So again, thank you for any support you're able to lend in that way. No matter what though, we appreciate you watching. And jumping into today's mission finally, we're playing Twists and Turns, and this is a bit of a weird one. We have 5 objectives across the table on the diagonal, none in our own starting territories. So normal hold 1, hold 2, hold more scoring. The weird twist with this one is at the end of your turns after you store the objectives, the ones you're controlling potentially have a chance to turn off. And then if you're still controlling them at the start of your next turn, they have a chance to turn back on. Interesting, because then if you turn them off, makes it challenging to store or hold one or deny hold one or more, sorry. So
lots of different ways that can
I know this is going to be a weird one.
Opponent. Yeah.
But we just got to jump into it and play it for the first time to see what it's like. But otherwise, Oliver, do you want to jump in and take us through your list?
For sure. So I'm running a list today that looks pretty generic with the Bow Snakes and Morathi, but doing a few fun things with magic that I've always kind of wanted to do. So I have a Warlord Battalion in which I have Big Morathi, my General who's the Iron Scale who has the Arcane Tome and Steed of Shadows, Zealous Orator as she always does, and then a Bloodrack Medusa with the Crystal Heart, Crystal something, so that allows her to have double the range of an endless spell when she casts it, which is pretty cool. And then Little Morathi as well. And then finally rounding it out, I have, Little Morathi is in the Battle Reg with the 2 units of Witches. And so that allows me to have enough for 3 endless spells, Cogs, Purple Sun, and the Bloodrack Viper, which has been sitting on the shelf for a little while, and I think it needs some love. So I think with all that casting, we'll hopefully be able to see some
hopefully not.
Dead wet elves.
Yeah, well, we'll see at some point. Obviously, doubling down on those, the snakes in this build. But I am playing tonight one of the strongest anti-shooting armies. Maybe not as strong as they used to be, but still some anti-shooting tech. You're not going to get to choose too much what you shoot at, though you do have the teleport. For my list tonight, though, I'm playing Nautilus. This makes my turtle battle line, gives him a monstrous action to make his Bite and Fins Rend 3. Which is super spicy. Gives you some high rend in this army. Otherwise, I'm kind of MSU with everything else. I got 2 units of Thralls, just minimum 10s. I got 2 units of Reavers in 10s as well. I got 2 single Sharks. And then I have 4 heroes here tonight, so more than I usually run. I have the Soul Render, just to keep... I'm only 10 guys in a unit, but just if you leave one die alive, I'm potentially filling it back up. So that's super annoying. I have Lotan here, my little crab, who's just giving out his aura and the ritual ability. And then off the board, I have a Thrall Master who's got the Delation Champion ability of Tunnel Master. He's also got a Night Flyer Cloak, which is why he's deep striking off the board right now. And then my general, unsurprisingly, is the good old Smash King. So Arcane Tome, Flaming Weapon, super stabby command trait, and then -1 to hit.
All the dirty tricks.
With mount trait, yeah. So very, very solid little hitter there. And that is everything for me. So surprisingly, because I'm so MSU here, I typically would go for a battle regiment with Deepkin. Here I did not have Warlord in addition, and put me up to 6 drops, where Oliver, you were 5 and did outdrop me here.
So yeah, I'll have the choice of first, and before I do want to shout out quickly Benedict and the Team Austria from Worlds. Thank you for the sweet jersey. I know I'm well overdue for sporting this one on the channel, but it was lovely to meet all of you. And I'm going to give Jordan the gift of the first
Unsurprisingly.
turn. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, so we'll jump into Idoneth Deepkin, turn 1.
Hiding their raiding party, the Deepkin enact the Ritual of Creeping Mist, and their battle tactic is desecrate their lands. The Achillean King and Bloodrack Medusa both fail heroic leadership. The Achillean King casts Mystic Shield but is unbound. The Thrall Master deep strikes using his Night Flyer Cloak. Both Alapexes shoots at Morathi, but only deal 1 damage in total. The Leviathan uses all that attack and shoots at the witches, killing 2. At the end of their turn, both of the Idoneth controlled objectives deactivate. Cautiously advancing on the battlefield, the Idoneth complete their battle tactic and score 5 points.
All right, so Idoneth, turn 1. Not, obviously here, not my typical 1-drop. Already feels bad of getting given first. I really don't like it in this army that can't take a double. So a little scared, wanted to get some of my shooting out though. Obviously Reavers are out of range. 3s and 3s, low volume of shots, not very reliable. Hoped to get 3 wounds on Morathi. Between my 2 sharks, only got 1, and then my turtle only did 2 damage to the witches because he was just outside of Morathi range, so disappointed all around in that regard. I did take just 2 objectives here to get my hold 2, hold more, so I'll store my full 5 points with my battle tactics, so good on the scoring front. And I notably popped my ritual, so you can only shoot me if you're within 12 inches of me.
That's a huge move.
So you have the option to, but it puts you real danger close for a priority.
Danger close range.
Yeah, so
yeah.
That's kind of the dilemma I wanted to put you in, and you're gonna have to decide if it's worth it. So
100%.
No matter what, that's about it, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much else to say.
No,
I like the twists. It's interesting. So
oh, yeah,
these guys are off.
Both the objectives turned off.
That's the big one.
I didn't mind this one because it de-incentivized you for this one, but I would have liked to have that one for sure on my turn.
Having one of them would have been nice, because then it means I need to at least get 2 objectives.
Yeah.
Now I have the luxury of only needing to take 1 objective in order to score my points. So there are some other ways I can play this that are not so bad. So
yep, that's about it. So we'll jump into a Daughters of Khaine, turn 1.
Undaunted by their reclusive foe, the Daughters of Khaine battle tactic is desecrate their lands. Morathi and the Achillean King both use heroic leadership. Morathi has the chronomantic cogs unbound, but then fails to cast Black Horror of Ilgu. The Medusa fails to cast Bloodrack Viper, but the Iron Scale casts Steed of Shadows. The Stalkers use At the Double, and the Witches teleport using Masters of the Shadow Paths. At the end of their turn, both Daughters of Khaine objectives deactivate. Unable to engage their slippery foe, the Daughters of Khaine complete their battle tactic and score 5 points.
Okay, so the daughters moved around, but the twists and turns were that none of my endless spells went off.
Yes.
So when you put 250 points into endless spells, one of the things you have to be prepared for is that you'll just roll really bad and
dispelled cogs.
Dispelled cogs. So I
unbound cogs.
I barely got it off with the 6, but then got it unbound. So that there goes my magic reliability.
Yeah.
And then that just ended up
rolling
snowballing
below average. And
yeah, and I even stopped casting with my last cast with Morathi because I just felt, the way the luck was going, there wasn't going to be a game changer spell that was needed at that point, so it just hold it off.
I was trying to egg you on to do
Jordan was really trying to
make
make me make that roll, but I've miscast so many times with Morathi, I now can barely feel like I can leave home without cogs. So yeah, we just moved around a little bit. We got the battle tactic.
Yep.
I'm in an okay position here. I mean, if Jordan takes the turn, it's going to hurt, but it's going to open me back up for the double, and I think that's not a bad area or time to be, to have the bond return 2, as opposed to giving him the turn 2 with the opportunity to go into turn 3.
Yep.
So it's an okay position. We'll see. The one thing that we didn't do, though, is we didn't see where the twists and turns happen.
Yep.
So we got to roll for the back objective
stays on
to
on
see if it stays on. And we got a 1,
so that one turns off.
Okay. And then for the second one,
that turns off
3,
as well.
they both turn off.
GC,
so everything's turned off.
Yeah.
So I do get my 1-2 more, so I'll get my 5 points. But that'll be...
Yep, so tie game. We're basically restarting the game here. We just had a second deployment
with
phase.
only one objective active.
Yeah. That's a 4.
I got a 2.
Oh, I'm tempted. So yeah, I'm going to take it here. Let's get some damage on, and we'll jump into Idoneth Deepkin, turn 2.
Sweet.
Eager to engage on their terms, the Idoneth battle tactic is gaining momentum, and one of their objectives is reactivated. The Achillean King and Ironscale both use heroic leadership. The Witches rally, returning 2 models. Lotan uses the Ritual of the Surging Stream on the King, who then casts Flaming Weapon. The Achillean King uses At the Double. The Thrall Master uses Tunnel Master to teleport to the corner objective. The Reavers shoot at the Witches, dealing 3 damage. The first Alopex deals 1 damage to the Bloodstalkers, and the second Alopex deals 2 more. The Leviathan shoots at the Witches, dealing 4 damage. The Leviathan uses Forward to Victory and makes his charge. The Leviathan uses Crushing Assault and Morathi fails to roar. The Achillean King uses Lord of Tides, targeting himself, the Thralls, and an Alopex. The Achillean King swings first, dealing over 30 damage, and he takes out the Bloodstalkers. The Alopex attacks next, finishing off the Witches. The Thralls fight and take out another unit of Witches. Jeez, Jordan, calm down, man. Activating next, the Leviathan deals 3 wounds to Morathi. Morathi uses All-Out Slaughter, and the Achillean King defends, suffering only 3 damage. Devastating the Khainite forces, the Deepkin complete their battle tactic and score 5 points.
Well, I think that was a dream turn for any Idoneth player. The only thing to complain about is my king took 3 wounds. But
I think you'll take that trade.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Morathi unkillable, means it's all but game over. There's still the Shadow Queen, still a little fight left, but for all intent, you're pretty behind the curve at this point.
Yeah,
needless
for sure.
to say.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is the bodies, right? I'm actually, like, in terms of points, I'm only down 700 points, which is a lot, but like that's actually like there's still 2/3 of my army on the table.
Yeah.
The problem is that 2/3 of my army is tied up in 4 bodies, and Jordan has 100%,
and then the spells,
100% of his bodies still left. So it's gonna be hard for me to claw this one back without the ability to like rally anything. There was I thought that the king had done all of his attacks.
It was just there's one snake left out of the polearm.
His one profile did 28 damage.
Yeah.
So I'm sure when you tally the whole thing up, he would have done a whopping 40 plus.
Yeah,
damage.
well, 30 something probably.
30 something,
mid-30s probably with the
so enough to put some hurt into any unit. And there was just that little bite-sized hole to fit his base in because I plucked a casualty away. Because I was actually trying to think of, like, I didn't want to pull them into combat with the king from the other way.
You were trying to get further from my pile-in.
From your pile-in.
Opened up a little gap for a bigger charge.
It opened up a gap the other way. It is what it is. I think at this point, we'll just have to see if we can get some nice double turns and some good spells.
Yeah, right now, these 3 objectives are still off. This one did not turn on.
Did you roll for this one yet?
I did not control it.
I
do control it now.
You control it now.
But
so you don't turn it on.
Yeah, I don't turn it on because it's.
So you would do it in your turn. So
this one remains off.
So all 3 of
this
these
one
are
stayed off. This one thankfully turned on for me, and then I used Tunnel Master to teleport to the only one left.
And now
Give
you have
me
to
hold
roll
2
for
and
it.
hold more. Yep. So I will get my 5 points here, and then we'll see what turns off. So that one back there on a 3-up, it stays on. The one that levers on, and then this one with my thralls stays on as well.
Okay, so that's quite nasty.
Yeah. If they both turned off, you would potentially get a hold more, hold one, hold more. But here, it's a little tougher. And yeah, obviously, like, looks really bad. But with a double, you potentially have 4 fight phases with Morathi. Over the next 2 turns with some hero phase fighting. So. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Yep.
And we'll see if there's
also considering Deepkin can similarly be pretty squishy. But yeah, lots to talk about. We'll save it for the end of the game. And for now, jump into Daughters of Khaine, turn 2.
Enraged at the loss of their subjects, the Daughters of Khaine battle tactic is eye for an eye, and the corner objective reactivates. The Shadow Queen and Achillean King both use their finest hour. The Medusa casts the Chronomantic Cogs, and Morathi casts Purple Son of Shaiish. Morathi then casts Mind Razor on the Shadow Queen, but has Black Horror of Ilgu unbound. The Shadow Queen uses Worship Through Bloodshed and deals 13 damage to the Leviathan. The Iron Scale failed to cast the Blood Rack Viper. The Shadow Queen uses Master the Shadow Paths. The Reavers unleash Hell, dealing 3 damage to the Shadow Queen. The Shadow Queen uses Titanic Duel, and the Leviathan uses Crushing Assault. The Shadow Queen attacks, killing 4 Reavers and finishing off the Leviathan. Mounting a defense, the Daughters of Khaine complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
All right. So, Doc turn. Was able to get a few things off. Finally got some crazy hot magic, which was nice.
Yep, good casting.
Morathi fought in the hero phase, did some damage, some more damage to the turtle. Got the purple sun off. Some got Mind Razor too, and then used the Celebron ability to teleport Morathi out of combat, which meant I need to make a 9-inch charge. Well, I got the +1. Needed the reroll, made it 11, so it was 12-inch charge. Got back in between the Reavers and the turtle. Finished off the turtle. Unfortunately, completely whiffed on the Reavers. Rolled a bunch of 1.
It was the head attacks aren't much, but the tail didn't hit, right? If the tail hadn't connected, the
tail didn't wound, and the other ones, the other ones are still 2 damage though because of.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It should have done a little bit. I only did 4 damage, and the result is that Jordan now still holds the objective.
Yeah, because I brought 2 dice back with the Soul Render.
Because he brought 2 back with the Soul Render. Yeah. So, and he's out of combat as well. Yeah. So no fighting in the hero phase, tricksiness. With Morathi taking 7, there's a little bit of hope for me if I get the turn and I'm able to clear off another 2 units. And then reposition my other character somewhere, but it's at this point I'm just clawing for points and trying to get my snake out.
Yes.
To play.
Yep. So, well, why don't we jump into round 3 priority?
Oh,
that's a 3.
The suspense. That's a 4. Okay, well, Doc will take it and it'll be a quick one.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll jump into Daughters of Khaine, turn 3.
Eager for the slaughter, the Daughters of Khaine battle tactic is barge through enemy lines. Morathi uses Heroic Leadership, and the Soul Render uses Heroic Willpower. Morathi casts Mind Razor on the Shadow Queen, but has Black Horror of Ilgu unbound. The Medusa casts the Blood Rack Viper, and Morathi casts Mystic Shield on the Shadow Queen. The Iron Scale fails to cast Steed of Shadows. Then the Blood Rack Viper slays the Soul Render. Morathi Khaine uses Master of the Shadow Paths. The Medusa's Stare deals 4 mortal wounds to the Reavers, then Morathi deals 3 damage to the other unit of Reavers. The Medusa uses Forward to Victory and makes her charge. The Reavers unleash Hell, dealing 2 damage to the Shadow Queen. The Shadow Queen roars, but the Reavers attack first and deal the 3rd wound to her. Splitting their attacks, the Shadow Queen finishes off both units of Reavers. Dealing further casualties to the enemy, the Daughters of Khaine complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
All right, so Daughters of Khaine turn 3, and that'll pretty much do it. I was able to kill a few more things, but
all in all, you actually you have done quite a lot of work. As we predicted was possible, you did do a lot over the last turn in Prio.
Yeah, I think just unfortunately a little bit too little, too late. In my turns when I had them, I was still taking the 3 wounds. Like Jordan's army is very good at always putting wounds on me, on Marathi, regardless of whose turn it is.
Unleash Hell, the Reavers are amazing. They also had Fight First to get that 3rd wound. So
yeah, it didn't. I didn't want to put Marathi into the Reavers, but I also knew if I didn't kill the Reavers now, there's no way Marathi survives another round. So, at least if there was this,
might as well kill stuff.
Might as well kill stuff. So it is what it is. But at this point, with 2 wounds left,
you can't stay out of combat forever, and you're not doing anything if you stay out of combat, right?
So. No. So yeah, that'll be that. Unfortunately, so the twists and turns, that's kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
It hurt me quite a bit because Jordan's ones turned off at kind of the right time. Like this one's been off.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to control it in my turn because Jordan brought the 2 back.
Yeah. Which means it's not on.
Which meant it wasn't on, so that even though I control it, it didn't matter because it's not on. This one isn't on either, but Jordan has the 2 in the corner, which I wasn't able to threaten. And then I guess in retrospect, because this one's off and I'm not fighting for an objective, probably should have just brought Marathi instead of going after the turtle here at the start, like when she still had 4 wounds, come over here and threaten these last 2 objectives. Given this mission, I think is just because if stuff is off,
maybe
it maybe means a little bit more because there's a chance for me to control 1, maybe 2 other.
But I think you give up. It's tough because they could switch, turn off right after you cap them, and then they don't turn back on the double, right? So you never know.
Sure. And then I don't kill as much stuff.
And then I have all my shooting.
Is still alive.
Yeah.
So this way it was kind of over when the bow snakes went.
Yeah, that was definitely a turning point. But why don't we just jump into quick Deepkin turn 3 and see if we can put a final end to Marathi and the bow snakes.
Let's do it.
Looking to complete their victory, the Idoneth battle tactic is eye for an eye, and all their objectives are active. The Achillean king heroically recovers 3 wounds, while the Medusa fails. The Alapexes both shoot at the Shadow Queen, but deal no damage. The Alapex finishes off Marathi, and the Achillean king takes out the Medusa. Lastly, the Thralls attack and eliminate the Iron Scale. This has been a brutal game. Ending any threat of reprisal, the Idoneth complete their battle tactic and score 3 points.
Well, that was as quick as expected, but it was a little bit of torture for the Daughters of Khaine here. Marathi did at least survive to go down in combat gloriously.
Yeah. So she hung around till turn 3, so she was still alive. That's kind of, I think just you're seeing the weakness of this build, which there always was the weakness. It just too many points in endless spells in a list that has no survivability or punch.
That's always been a challenge of Daughters of Khaine. Again, we know this matchup fairly well, that whoever gets to land the big first blow is obviously doing a lot of damage, right?
Yeah, and so I thought that coming into this match, the magic dominance that I had in the list would have played well into Idoneth because Jordan has only 1 caster, but it's the fickleness of magic, right?
And you need cogs for the reliability.
I failed to get off cogs because Jordan dispelled it. I failed to get off any spells in my first turn, which meant that I had no casters, like no endless spells,
Yeah.
getting in Jordan's movement area and like causing havoc and causing him to question kind of where he went if he did take the next turn, which he ended up taking. And then also Jordan got his flaming weapon off, even though despite my 6 casts or 6 dispels, you got the flaming weapon off, which is just
you just
that much more
roll
damage.
well once, right?
Which
on
is
one
enough.
spell.
It's like it's the difference between wiping the whole unit and not
Maybe-
having
maybe one or
and
two
maybe
survive.
one or two surviving,
And then
which then rallies
5 back, 6 back.
5, 6 back, and then like there's still game there. So yeah, I think it's a lot of eggs in one huge basket, which is bow snakes, and to lose those at the start of turn 2 without them ever putting any damage on the table because of the prayers and everything that Idoneth have. Yeah, I mean that's gonna happen. So.
Yeah. So Deepkin is an army that I think has suffered a little bit more with the evolution of the meta, in terms of like they're a good combat army. We saw it here, but there's a lot of really high saves now where they're blunted a little bit more. Here I do have the round 3, which can punch through in a couple places, but overall the sharks aren't super reliable in shooting, but they're just a good utility unit that does a little bit of everything. So you accept that they're not going to do a lot of damage in shooting. I don't think like they maybe did 2 combined damage like all game or something, like completely did 1 damage round 1 and then.
But they did what they needed to. Like
3.
I mean, both of them killed 2 units of
exactly.
2 units
It's
of
like
witches, right? So
chipping here, and then they're a good combat threat and the single sharks are great both for like clearing out cheap screens and chaff units and that kind of thing, but also especially in combination with the anti-shooting tech where that turn 2, if you had one turn 2, you shoot my thralls in the hero phase, great, that's 130 points, and then you shoot the shark in your combat or one other unit that's like worth less than 200 points in your shooting phase, right? Depending on where you teleport.
Yeah.
But that anti-shooting, ability of Deepkin combined with MSU means you're not really lifting big valuable targets.
No. Yeah. Exactly. So it still remains one of the best anti-shooting plays.
Yeah, and it's like we've talked about it every time. It's like just you mentioned earlier in the game, such good tools for getting that 3 damage on Marathi. I have that 32-inch threat range with the sharks and turtle. And 18-inch range is guaranteed.
Strike first in turn 3.
Yeah. So by the time we get there, it's like you're definitely taking 6 that round.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
Yeah.
But so this is first time we've got either of these armies on the table with the new General's Handbook. So how do you think Daughters of Khaine fares transitioning into GCs instead of GVs?
Yeah, I think, Daughters of Khaine did get a bunch of points updates.
So that
it does impact it a bit. This list is maybe 50 points more, but like this build here is still pretty much the same as what you've seen before.
Yeah, minus the spells.
Minus
you have
all the
another
spells.
10 witches as a screen or something.
Yeah, so which my other list that I have that drops all the 2 predatory endless spells has 20 more bodies, which is definitely a better build.
Yeah.
And so I think that they're in a decent position. I like Calibron for the maneuverability to get those GC heroes on the points.
Yep.
Is quite nice. And the bow snakes, I suppose, for shooting into the Galatian champions, but I didn't even bother putting them in the battalion because I think that you get more value out of a warlord and a battle reg.
And so often, if there's 20 thralls here and a hero or something, you want to kill the 20 thralls anyways. You don't care about killing that little hero, right? You kill the thralls and take the objective. That little hero's going to die on the following turn anyways. So that's where it's like the protection is in some situations like some armies don't really care about it because you're probably not targeting those heroes anyways because they're not super impactful. And it's those few armies though, like the Fire Slayers and the ones that really rely on those little heroes, Night Haunt, that hugely benefit this edition, right?
Mm-hmm. Hugely.
I mean, it's great for Daughters of Khaine. On your end, even with you can have Crown of Woe and the Zealous Orator for the 4-up rally on a small hero, and it's safer than something bigger now, right?
Yep. So there are still those plays. Like I think Docker still in a very competitive place for the new GHB, and
points went up a little bit on, as you said, but I don't think the rules changes didn't hurt them at all.
Nope.
If anything, it helps them.
Yep.
Especially with bounty hunters going away, which was always a crippling thing for daughters.
Yeah, that extra 1 damage.
Yeah.
So that you could have a unit of pigs just run through an entire army was quite painful.
Yeah. Looking at Deepkin, similarly, super happy to see bounty hunters gone. These units at 10, like MSU, Namarti, even better. Namarti in general, they're taking less damage. You kill 4 here. I'm back up to full, then nearly by the next turn.
Yeah.
So that just keeping that unit topped up is amazing. Or those little units, because even leaving 1 left is super annoying. I bring 3 back, then I take turn, bring 3 more back.
Yeah.
They're still an effective unit.
I mean, elves thematically, they couldn't always take a punch, but in something where you've removed 3 units with +1 damage, those armies all become better.
Yep, exactly. And otherwise, I mean, Deepkin notoriously always had the protection of their heroes from their shooting mechanics. Now it's like cool. Actually, the Tunnel Master is probably the best addition for them, especially on someone like the Thrall Master or the Soul Render, to make sure they're in their ranges for their buffs. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, I don't think there's anything that really hurts them. It means we're not in Bounty Hunters, but I think Deepkin always wants to be usually in that 1 drop. Here, it was scary not to be. The Tide helped me actually remove the threat of the damage turn 1.
Completely.
And even if you had gone in again, teleported within 12 to shoot off my thralls, then you lose priority and it's game over. More so than anything else.
Yeah.
So I guess here being a higher drop didn't end up being the worst thing, because you can't take that risk.
Yeah, and that Warlord Battalion ended up being helpful for you. That extra CP on that turn.
It did. Yep.
So.
And here, being so MSU, I couldn't have been all in a battle regiment. That's why I ended up exactly that, taking the Warlord.
I think my biggest finding for the new GHB is that the new battalions aren't actually that helpful, but I like that in a good way, in the sense that they're not destructive to the game. They don't cause other units that are unnecessarily powerful for no reason.
Their seasoning in terms of some armies may take them here and there in certain situations, but they're not the main course. You're not seeing bounty hunters and expert conquerors in every list for the most part.
So well done, Games Workshop. I think it's
better balance.
It's the nice flavor that we needed.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a hot topic right now, talking about book battle tactics. These are actually both 2 armies that have good book battle tactics. My 2 cents on it all, I would never, I'm never going to deny book battle tactics in any events I run. I think there are definitely some armies that benefit more than others, and we would all love to see better balance. I don't think removing book battle tactics is the answer, so I think that's a little.
Yeah, and I think that's why Daughters of Khaine saw such dramatic points increases. Some of my lists are 70 points more, because part of that is that they can score battle tactics for a number of different ways that are unique to Daughters of Khaine, making them a stronger build. Yep,
always definitely factored in. But over here, we can wrap it up. At this point, you scored pretty well on the turn, or your last couple turns, but
you'll still score another 10 points.
You do, though, get your grand strategy, because everything fought or died, so.
Yeah.
I should have just ran away from this.
You actually would have.
I could have, but
yeah.
She can move and charge, and it doesn't matter.
Teleport.
Yeah, exactly. So. But that's about it. We're gonna wrap things up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that report, and we'll see you guys soon in another video.